Welcome everyone to the Phoenix Report. I am Jack Connor, and today we are reviewing Black Panther, which is, as we record this, is the #1 movie in the world. Everybody is talking about this movie. We have been looking forward to it ever since we first got introduced to Black Panther in Captain America: Civil War. I think everyone who saw that movie was just really curious about this new character and what he could do, and where does this guy come from? And I was like, is he really running as fast as Captain America and the Winter Soldier? Who is this guy? So, but apparently the Black Panther has been around in the comics for a long time, over 50 years. So we'll get into that for a little bit. But first, I've assembled sort of my own royal panel, if you will, my own royal council of elders. Of course, we have John Walters.
What's going on, guys? Glad to be here.
Hey.
All right, glad to have you, John. And of course, we have writer-director, all-around film buff Antonio Camuñas.
Hey guys, what's up?
And we also have a very special guest. She doesn't normally do these movie review things with me, but she has been on my podcast before, sort of a one-on-one interview. She is a really good friend of mine and a really talented artist. Please welcome Chaddy Boom.
Hello,
Hey.
hi.
Yeah.
All right. As I was explaining right before we started, Chaddy isn't usually, it doesn't usually follow the superhero movies as much, but in recent years she has been getting into it. And
Yeah, since like Avengers and, since Iron Man, I'd say. Maybe, yeah, Iron Man,
Right.
then Avengers. I skipped a couple, but tried to go back. I just watched Doctor Strange like a month and a half ago.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I'm
Nice.
Yeah, pretty
I'm trying
good.
to keep up.
You're diving right in. Well, I mean, obviously,
Yeah, I'm almost caught up.
well, obviously being
Nice.
being a mother of 3 young boys, obviously you're going to get exposed to that in some form or fashion, I imagine.
hmm
But I know that you and I had talked about this for a while because I think ever since the movie Creed came out,
Yeah.
because I was a big fan of that movie because I grew up loving the Rocky movies, and I was
I had to
curious.
catch up on that too.
Yeah.
Before I watched Creed.
Yeah, and so you and I got to talking about that and
Yes.
and got to talking about movies, and I know that you were definitely a fan of Michael B. Jordan.
hmm
And of the director Ryan Coogler,
Yes.
and I remember when I found out that he was doing Black Panther, I was like, hey, I don't know if you're familiar with this character, but Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, they're going to be in this Marvel superhero movie.
Yes.
You might want to check this out. And so I know you've been really looking forward to this movie for a long time as well.
Yeah, since like when did they preview the previews? Last March, May, or something. It's been a long time. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I know, ever since we found out that Chadwick Boseman was going to be the Black Panther when he showed up in Captain America: Civil War, we kind of
Yes.
knew he was going to get his own movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
Love it.
yeah, so man, and it's crazy just how well this movie is doing. I think everybody thought it was going to be popular because everyone really loved this character in Civil War, but I don't know if anyone anticipated just how hugely popular this movie is right now. It's number
I
one in the
know.
box office all over the world.
I know.
For
I know
sure.
what $405 million over the weekend.
For sure.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, guys, did you anticipate anything like that? I mean, are you guys surprised at all by any of this?
Not really.
Yeah,
No.
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, this is this is a very different movie. This is I mean, this is it's pretty awesome because it's an pretty much an all black cast. If I can say that. Which is great, and I think it resonates well with kind of all audiences. So I think
Yep,
it doesn't
everyone. Yep.
it doesn't really surprise me that everybody is really out to see it and they're going to see it again, or rather there's word of mouth and that people are like, yeah, let's go watch this thing. People are liking it.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
A lot of my timeline friends, they've seen it 2-3 times already.
Yeah, I mean obviously it goes without saying, being taking place in Africa, having a predominantly black cast. It's it's crazy how many people have responded to that because obviously that's that's an audience that that really is into being represented on screen. That's a very important thing, and I didn't realize how significant it was, but it's just like.
Yes, a lot of my non-black friends didn't realize. They're like, oh, just like, I just expected, like, it was a great movie. They didn't realize the impact that it had, like, on the black community. Like, so we showed up, showed out. We, like, a group of us, it was like 30 of us from a specific group or more, 30 to 50 of us. We got tickets for this one time. We dressed up, and it was fun.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures you shared, and just people would be coming in and just, like, it looked like a Nigerian wedding. It was crazy, what stuff was going on there.
Right.
I actually, our other buddy Jason, who's another one of our podcasts, he was showing me this one picture of this guy who would come up. You get a few guys coming into the theater dressed like Eddie Murphy and Coming to America, which is hilarious.
Sad, yes. King Joffrey Joffa, ruler of the moon.
Yes, Prince Hakeem. So,
Hakeem.
it was great. I was like, oh, well, I'm glad the representatives from Zamunda decided to show their support. That's nice. There was someone who actually like mashed up the trailer from Coming to America with the trailer for Black Panther. It's on funnyordie.com. It's hilarious.
Okay.
Then it's like between that, you get a bunch of people making like Lion King jokes. It's just. But yeah.
But it's obviously, like you said, it was so important about like what this kind of movie represents, and it's great that it can reach out to like a wide amount of people. But what's really actually a big credit to Ryan Coogler and Kevin Feige and all the other writers is they made a good movie. Like, that's really what's important, so that way everybody can actually like it, It's not just like, oh, we're really gonna focus in on a group of people, and hopefully they like it, and then hopefully others will maybe jump in. It's like, no, you know what? Like, let's take a story, and this is where it's located. Let's make sure it's correct and representative of that, but like let's make a good story out of it,
Yeah,
and that's a big credit to really the director and writers on that, and the cast for their performance, obviously.
For sure, and it's one of those things where it's like, yes, you can lure people in, but it's like if it's not a good movie, then people aren't going to stick around and say good things about it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, so that was part of it. Black Panther is not a new character though. He was actually created in the comics in 1966 by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Curious enough, I mean that was in the mid 60s. Did not have anything to do with, contrary to popular belief, had nothing to do with the Black Panther Party, which is much different than this.
Yeah.
And Stan Lee actually said, he's like, look, that was just a coincidence. We had nothing to do with that. That's not the story we're trying to tell here. This kind of predated. I wasn't really sure who came first, if it was Black Panther or the Falcon, but I think he predated Falcon by a couple years.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Black Panther before Falcon. Pretty sure.
I bet I don't know.
Yeah. I'm looking it up right now. Black Panther debuted in 1966. The Falcon was in 69, and then later you had Luke Cage in 1972, and over in DC you had Jon Stewart, one of the Green Lanterns, in 1971. So. Yeah, but Black Panther was definitely the first. Saying how ironic that the actor who played Jackie Robinson is kind of also sort of playing the man who broke the color barrier in the comics, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? Yeah, he always playing true characters. This is like his first lead role, not playing a true character. He played James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, and Jackie Robinson. That's his thing.
Yeah, I really want to see the James Brown movie too. I never got the chance to see that.
Get on up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really want to see that just because I love James Brown. So, I'm sorry, John, what were you going to say?
Well, just kind of piggyback on that before I move on, is like, is what Chadwick, like, he didn't even have to audition for this role. Like, Feige saw him, like, he saw all of his work, and he's like, I want this guy to be, I want this guy, and basically, because I was listening to him, and he was like at a play, or like he was just getting done with another movie, and like, they kind of like called him into a vehicle because everything had to be secretive, and it was like a limo, and they were like, Marvel wants to do a movie with you, and it's this, and like they don't have all of the plot yet, but they basically said, "You're our man. We want you to please do it." And so he's like one of the only actors in the entire the MCU that didn't have to audition for his role.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Me either.
Yep. Well,
Wow.
and he's I mean, obviously he's that good.
Yes. Yes, he is.
Antonio, I know you saw it on Monday. I think you got to see it a little bit later, but like, was it still crowded when you ended up going?
It was like the first showing. It was like 12 o'clock, so it wasn't that early. But there was still a couple of people in the theater, and it's just I was super pumped to watch this movie. But I think the best part was really at the end when it actually ended up being a very fulfilling movie. Like it was a good story and great action. But even more, like when I'm walking out of the theater, and in front of me is like there's a black family. There's like a husband and a wife and 2 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl. It's like kind of like the cliche black family, and it's like they're in front of me, and I don't know. I was just like thinking what they were feeling. Like, damn, they finally had a movie with 99% black cast, and it was great. It was a great adventure, and
there's a token white guy,
That's how we feel.
Yes, there is.
There's 2 of them, and they were both in The Hobbit. So would they be the Tolkien white guys? I don't know how.
Nice.
I don't know. It was just a really special experience, and I just feel like I put myself in their shoes, and they're probably feeling pretty damn good.
Yeah, I love that. Wow.
They should be more of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate that so much because I'm black. So that's good to hear. The positivity. It lets me know that most people are good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just makes me feel good. Thank you for that. Thank you.
No, so just like what I said is like basically every single Marvel movie from the start has been a cheeseburger and fries, and this is like whatever flavorful African dish that they have served us.
Right.
This is it. This is some flavorful cultural explosion that we just experienced. And it's just so good. It's so different. Like I'm Puerto Rican, so it's not like I don't have any sort of
flavor.
I'm so far away from African culture, but yeah, it was great for this to be out there finally.
And we've done reviews before on other Marvel movies, and I kind of obviously I love Marvel movies, but one of the few things that I rip on Marvel about is casting. And I mean, you've heard me before, Jack, and
yeah,
Tony,
I mean, Chaddy, I don't know.
Especially,
I don't know if you heard. John got off into a tangent when we did Doctor Strange a year ago.
Really?
Oh yeah,
because of who the Ancient One was.
Well, the thing is, it's not just Doctor Strange, but also in Iron Man 3. But they have like these characters that are heavily Asian influenced, heavily. They're just all. I mean, you got literally the Ancient One, which is in Asia, and it's like they've and another one in Iron Man 3. You have the what's his name?
The Mandarin.
The Mandarin. I mean, come on, his name is the Mandarin, and like, anyways, I'm not here to rip on Marvel, but. They've casted wrong.
Well, you know what? It's kind of the weird thing, and it's kind of a weird thing about that. And I've read like some of the interviews that they've done, and I guess like everyone's trying to be politically correct nowadays. So it's like, well, they didn't want to make it like a caricature of Asian stereotypes, but at the same time, it's like you're still casting a white dude as an Asian role. Like
that's worse. Yeah. That's what they've been doing. Blackface, black characters, Asian characters, Indian characters. That's still part of the legacy of American, white American influence over population.
Exactly. So I've ripped on Marvel a little bit on like certain casting. Obviously, I love Marvel and like as a whole. There's way more positives than negatives. But as far as for this one, I'm just so glad they stuck the landing. They really stuck the landing on this one. It's just and it's really nice.
We have so many metaphors going right now. We have Antonio with the food, John with the gymnastics. This is incredible.
Right.
So it's just nice for sure.
Well, anyways, let's get into the plot. We'll kind of go through it beat by beat, and they started off right away, and I think that they were smart to do this. How they just kind of instantly kind of explained the origins of Wakanda. How it was a meteor full of vibranium, which is the strongest metal on Earth. And
well, no, it said the strongest metal in the galaxy. I think
in the universe, I guess.
Yeah.
It was definitely of alien origin, which is weird.
Sure. Right.
Yeah. And so it came down there, and obviously everyone knows that's what Captain America's shield is made out of. But apparently it can do a lot more. Like honestly, like I've been paying attention to the comic books for a while. I had no idea vibranium could do all this stuff that it does. So
well.
Yeah, so yeah, obviously it landed in Africa. That's how Wakanda formed. They did a pretty good job of explaining, why it was this isolationist country, and how they wanted to keep this resource hidden from the rest of the world. And it was really interesting how they ended up doing that, and how they ended up building their whole civilization around this new technology and the new this new element that they found out about. It's kind of interesting because it's like I almost find like in real life, isolationist countries haven't really done historically well. Like I think the closest was like Japan in the 16th century or something.
Yeah.
And that ended up not working out very well for them. But I digress. So they ended up building up the country and sort of they would pose as a third world country. So no one would really pay attention. And they're like, oh, okay, well, it's this little country in the mountains somewhere, and so no one suspects anything. So they immediately cut into 1992 in Oakland, California. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. For a second there, I thought we switched reels with, Do the Right Thing or Boys in the Hood or something. Wasn't really sure what we were doing in the early 90s in Oakland, but, it was interesting. And so they had, you had a young King T'Chaka as Black Panther. He would show up to visit his brother Njobu, who was there as a spy, and I guess he was there undercover. I still don't know exactly what he was doing in Oakland.
Why? Right. Like why?
Right. Not sure what his mission was, but he was there with his buddy James, who actually turned out to be Zuri, who was like doing like almost like a double agent kind of thing. Like he was like double undercover.
Spying on him. Yeah.
So I loved his line, where he's like, yeah, we got a couple of Grace Jones looking chicks knocking out the door.
I was dying.
And then just to immediately see him snap and then get the accent back, it was interesting. It was like, hey, wait a minute.
That was cool.
So,
do you guys watch This Is Us at all?
Yeah, Sterling. Love Sterling.
Yeah. My wife watches that show a lot. So
it's weird seeing him thuggish,
I know. That's the thing is, I don't watch a ton of the show. My wife watches it a lot, and so it's it's on in the background. So every now and then I'll look up and I realize what's going on a little bit. But I looked at him and I was like, is this the same guy from This Is Us? And it's hard. And it's hard to tell because he doesn't have those glasses on.
Right. He always looks different. He played, I first saw him in the O.J. Simpson An American Crime Story.
Oh, okay.
A Simpson show on FX last year. So I'm seeing him from that. This Is Us. And there he had like a big beard. And I'm like, who is this guy? So it's different in everything. He transforms, I guess.
Yeah, he's a good actor. He's a good actor, really.
Yeah. So T'Chaka goes and visits his brother and kind of reveals that he's like, look, I know you've been selling our secrets to Ulysses Claw, played by Andy Serkis, returning from Age of Ultron, and he basically calls him out that you've let him into our country, so he's about to take him back to be put on trial, and then Zuri reveals himself, and then it immediately cuts to the present day. Of course, we end up going back to that scene later on.
Right.
In the present day, I'm assuming this is like right after Civil War. T'Challa is on his way back home. He and Okoye they end up going to, I think, Nigeria, it was either Nigeria or Kenya, but he was looking for his ex-girlfriend, Nakia.
Yep.
So,
He's like, listen, I'm king. I want my woman. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure why they ended up breaking up in the first place. Like they seemed like they were both very much into each other. But she was like doing an undercover assignment, I think like I said, I think in Nigeria. She was like trying to help out with like these women who I guess it looked like it was like some sort of human trafficking thing that was going on there.
That was definitely human trafficking for sure.
Yeah.
So she and T'Challa, went there, saved the women there, and then she finally got. I thought it was a really funny exchange where it's like where they came back to the ship and Okoye was like he froze, didn't he?
Yeah. Don't freeze.
Yeah, I love that. I like that. Don't freeze, and he's like, I never freeze. Yeah, but he froze.
Yeah. The funny thing about it, every time I hear T'Challa's accent, it reminds me of that Dave Chappelle sketch where he played Nelson Mandela. Did anyone see that one?
I'd have to listen to it.
That's weird. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I'd have to see it.
It was this crazy sketch where it was like Sally Jesse Raphael and Dave showed up as it was like a Scared Straight program.
I haven't seen that one.
And he's like, "All right, children, shut your mouths." I digress, but
I love that accent that it's a made up accent, right? I mean, it's kind of like a combination of different accents.
I guess. There are probably.
I have a Nigerian friend who said that Mbaku, he did a really good job at sounding like Nigerian and Chadwick Boseman, and so it's pretty. I don't know what part of African, but
I guess you'd have to have like a mixture of all the different.
I think I remember Chadwick Boseman like saying that like he's kind of added a few of what the accent would sound like as opposed to like just taking on one country's accent. Like
exactly right.
He just kind of like did a little bit of mixture, but his performance, it's really that's what they took.
I love it.
So and like moving on to the actual movie itself, where everybody else has to like adapt to that kind of
what he did.
What he did exactly. Yeah, and it sounded awesome.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I love it.
So anyways,
I love it.
The three of them are on their way back to Wakanda for T'Challa's coronation. Like he's about to be officially, crowned as the king. They meet up with his mother, who's played by Angela Bassett.
Yes.
Really cool to see her in there. Little known fact, this is not the first superhero movie that she's done. She was in the Green Lantern movie back in 2011 as Amanda
Oh my
Waller.
gosh, I didn't even watch that one.
Not a lot of people did.
You don't really need to watch that one.
Right, that's what I heard.
I thought it was alright, but whatever.
People are making jokes that they know DC is mad. They should have cast him as a black character, as he originally was.
John Stewart,
yeah.
Yeah. There have been a few different Green Lanterns. They did Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and Yeah, there have been a few different Green Lanterns.
Wasn't it Ryan Green Lantern?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got another chance. Just like Michael B. Jordan from, what do you call it?
Yeah, he was the Human Torch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another chance.
So was Chris Evans. Chris Evans was a Human Torch.
Exactly. A lot of people get second chances, right?
Yeah.
So a few of Ben Affleck, he got a second.
No, absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. So they go back there, and the coronation ceremony was pretty cool. Like they're all on that cliff face.
Oh man, that was beautiful. Oh, I want to go to Africa now. Sorry. I love African dance. That's my favorite style of dance. West African dance is my favorite.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, yeah, I just wanted to be there so bad. Like.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So they had the coronation thing, and then we got to meet M'Baku, who's of.
M'Baku was awesome, dude. M'Baku was so.
Are you done?
Yeah, they're from the Jabari tribe, and I guess they're like kind of showed that like not everyone in Wakanda got along all the time. Obviously, there were some disputes amongst the tribes there, and he challenged T'Challa for the crown. They fought. T'Challa ended up beating him, and but he didn't kill him. He showed him mercy, which was cool. It was interesting to see the transformation he made from because I was curious ever since I saw Civil War, like how like, where do Black Panther's powers come from? And they come from this plant, the Earth.
Right.
Remember that's what I told you. Well, not the plant. I told you I was like, he's got to have he has to have like superhuman strength from somewhere, and like, cause like he fought like Bucky, Winter Soldier, like hand to hand with no suit. So I was like, okay, there's something else going on with him. We just don't know.
Yeah, like you know, I mean, it was obvious that he had some kind of powers. I mean, my man was outrunning cars.
Exactly.
Right.
And running as fast as Captain America. So it's like, yeah, he's got something going on. But it was interesting seeing the the transformation, how he would like go to normal strength, and it almost looked painful. Like he would have veins popping out. And, it was interesting how they depicted that transformation.
Mm-hmm.
But, I have to say one thing. Obviously, I love this movie, but there's a few things that I didn't like as much.
Okay.
And so I have to say, Forrest Whitaker, the actor, I like him as an actor, but I really felt like he was kind of an odd man out, and this he's just, I don't know, he kind of really stuck out to me in this one. Maybe it's because I've seen him in just so many movies, and like I don't know if he was trying too hard with his accent or.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just a combination of everything. But I watched, especially watching it the second time around, I was like,
I need to go watch it again.
Yeah, watching the second time around, I'm like, I don't think I liked his, I don't know, maybe his portrayal. Okay. His accent was it was just off. I remember just the way he would say like the Black Panther. I don't know, like the way he said it, I was like, it just doesn't seem like it fits with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, he definitely makes some interesting choices with some of the voices he does with some of his characters. Like, if you've ever seen Rogue One, the Star Wars movie, like he kind of had the same vibe going in the role he had in that movie.
I mean, I really liked him in that movie, and I don't know. Again, I guess it's maybe I've seen him in so many movies, but this one it just didn't feel, even especially the second time around. I was like, I think they could have gone with a different actor in that one. I didn't know how you guys thought about that or not.
I need to see it again, because I need to soak it in, again,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, John, you saw it twice already, right?
Yeah, I saw it twice. That's what's nice about having a movie pass is just it's like
yeah, I need one, but I don't go enough these days.
So I'll just go. It's real easy, and it's just sometimes like with Star Wars, I saw that so many times. I would like go watch my favorite scenes and then walk out. Like I didn't even see the whole thing, which was
you're really
nice. Getting
your money's worth out of the movie pass.
Yes, he is.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I don't blame you.
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
So so we got to meet M'Baku, and apparently M'Baku is a villain in the comics. Like in the comics, he wears like a gorilla suit and calls himself Man Ape. I can kind of see why they didn't necessarily want to bring that. Give him that name in the movie. That's probably not the most PC name, but regardless.
But still, that's it.
But he was an interesting character in this one.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people loved him. I loved him too.
Wasn't always the nicest guy, but he did kind of come through.
No. Yes, I liked his down to earthness and straight to the point. I like people like that. So I'm like, oh, okay. Even before he came to help, I was like, I like him.
honestly, he's like one of my favorites in that entire movie. Is him, and he was even better. Like it was even better the second time around watching him. So
I have to watch.
You got to watch it again because like I really like that character. He's he's not
he was
like
my dad's favorite too.
Yeah, I like it. He was so funny. Yeah, he was down to earth at the same time too.
I gotta say, I really liked Shuri, the little sister.
Shuri's my favorite.
Yes.
I want to be her friend.
She was adorable. She was so cute.
Yes.
And just really funny too. And I was thinking like, man, I hope she gets to meet Peter Parker.
Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious.
I think Peter Parker would fall head over heels for her instantly.
Yeah.
Just with all the science stuff.
Oh yeah.
I love her how she does this science. When you think of science, it's like I'm in the lab trying to figure this out. She's like having fun with it. Like look what look what I figured out. And it's like, I love it. I loved it.
She had some good lines. I love the don't scare me, colonizer.
Right.
You know,
There was somebody who took offense to that.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
it was a little bit of a weird thing to say. It's like, wait a minute, no one colonized Wakanda. Why would you say that?
Right. But if you, she's called him that because he's white, and that's what the European nations been doing for hundreds of years, colonizing. So that's all that had to do with it. It didn't have anything to do with anything else besides that.
True.
Yeah.
Not exactly an endearing term, but not totally inaccurate.
Exactly. It was meant to be that, which he said, colonizer.
Well, the thing is that, like, right afterwards, like, he said, oh, that's not my name, or that's not what I do. Like, she called him by his names, like, yeah, you're Agent Ross, blah, blah, blah. So she knew, but at least it wasn't just like, oh, I'm only calling you colonizer because I don't know you or at all. Like, she knew who it was.
Yeah, she was just being a smartass, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was cool. So then we finally got to meet. We got to see Ulysses Claw again. We got introduced to Eric Stevens, aka Killmonger, and what a character he was. In terms of a villain, like he's definitely one of the top Marvel villains already. Just because he's so layered, with all the stuff that.
Well, what they did with this one, again, with Marvel, usually they don't invest a whole lot into their bad guys, but this one they finally invested into the bad guy. Like, you actually knew his story. Like, he wasn't just like, oh, here's a bad guy for the good guy to step on and look good. Like, you invested with his side of the story. I'm glad they did that.
And it's interesting now, I don't think in the comics they were related, but in this one they turned out to be cousins.
Right.
That was a big reveal. So that, made sense why he'd want to go after the throne. They established right away that this guy is just a stone-cold sociopath and just a cold-blooded killer. Like, he does not care about, like, killing whoever he needs to in order to get what he wants.
Yeah, he was kind of hardened through the years and acquired all the training that he needed to get what he wants,
Yeah, because later on you see how those layers built up, and I will say, personally, there's a lot of black men here in America that have been saying that they identify with Killmonger. They wouldn't have necessarily used the tactics that he was going to, but all the internal struggle and the need to do things to help the oppressed people, basically what Lupita Nyong'o was doing on a smaller scale,
Right.
Killmonger wanted to do that on a bigger scale. So they identify the same way where, this country has hardened them. And it's like, I wish I could, do more. If I had this thing for my people to help ourselves, we do it. So those were the layers of him. And he definitely had a lot of empathizers. Because of that,
A lot of people were comparing his character to to the Joker, to Heath Ledger's Joker, and I didn't really see that.
Weird. I
didn't really see that as much. He reminded me a little bit more of General Zod in Man of Steel.
Yeah. I can see that.
And Chaddy, I don't know if you ever saw that movie, but basically General Zod in that movie, But General Zod in that movie was from Krypton, the planet Superman's from, and he basically wanted to establish a new Krypton and kind of save their race, but in order to do that, he also wanted to wipe out all the humans on Earth.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of
he was just kind of like hell bent on protecting and saving his people, no matter the cost of somebody else. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of that whole by any means necessary.
That's more than the Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more than the Joker.
Yeah, the Joker was just
reasoning. We don't even.
Yeah, the Joker was just evil and chaos for chaos's sake, which I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's very different kinds of villains, but both very effective. Right. Yeah. So I like the sequence that they did in South Korea, in Busan. Which they actually went to that city and filmed it there. I thought that was like all done on sets or whatever, but
wow, nice.
Yeah, that was actually filmed in Korea, and it almost reminded me of like a James Bond movie because they They were in this club doing a lot of like spy stuff, and that's where they met up with Everett Ross, the CIA agent, and so it was just that whole thing, and the car chase was pretty wild as well.
Yes. Oh, I loved it. I usually don't care about car chases, like cool action, but they stepped it up.
and I think seeing his new suit in action made it look a lot better than it did in the previews.
Right.
I have to say, I love the car scene. I agree with you guys. The new suit, I'm not a fan of the purple. I'm not gonna lie. I like the whole slick black with a little bit of silver. That's what that just looks nice. But then when you start adding the purple and a little bit more color, it's just, I don't know, kind of took away from it.
Purple is the same color as that flower, that special flower.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has anything to do with that. I'm not sure at all.
I mean, I know without that effect, it just kind of looked like a straight black leotard. Whereas, like the suit he wore in Civil War was just, it was a little bit more. There was a little bit more going on there, a few more decorations and some silver and a little more of an interesting design.
But that's like a cool suit either way. I want it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I really like the whole James Bond thing they had going on with the little sister as Q, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was
showing all his gadgets and stuff. That was so cool.
The car scene was awesome. I loved, is it Okoye? I loved her using her vibranium spears to kind of
oh my gosh.
Yeah, stop a car. That was like awesome.
That was one thing that kind of tripped me up a little bit when I saw like the previews and everything. I was like, wait a minute, there's supposed to be this advanced society and she's chucking spears at him. But it made more sense because it was like vibranium. I think it had like a tracker on it or something, or something was going on with that. So
They had the right too. She's used to using that sword in The Walking Dead. So,
That's right. Yeah, she's on that show.
The only thing I didn't like in that scene, that car scene, was when Claw blew up the car, and then Okoye was able to flip out of it because she was standing on top, but then in comes
coming in there.
Yeah, it was just with like a steering wheel in hand.
That was pretty funny.
I mean, obviously the effect is for funny, but I'm like, but I'm like, oh man, that's obviously they really went out there for a comic moment for sure.
Right. I loved it, even if it was unrealistic. Like why was she going up?
Yeah, it was like really she's coming in on like perfectly on her seat with her steering wheel. But I mean, it's for the effect of just having a good laugh.
I don't know, man. I heard that's what happens if you're at an intersection in Detroit. They just steal everything before.
Yeah.
A lot of out-of-work auto workers there, man. They'll just...
There you go.
Like at the end of the movie, when they came to Oakland at the end, they landed the thing, and the little boys were like, "Can we take it apart and take the pieces?"
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "No, stop that! Bad stereotype."
Well, I was actually. That's good. I would like to hear, your opinions on some of the stuff like that, like. Oh, can we take that apart and sell it or whatever? It's like, I'm like,
we thought that was hilarious. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I was laughing. The whole audience was laughing. There was so many like black of us dressed in African clothes around that section. Funny part to us.
Awesome. Yeah, because it's like one of those things like, I think this would be funny, but
right.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole story about how T'Chaka had to kill his own brother to save his friend, and it was like Shakespearean in a way. It was just really. It reminded me a lot of the first Thor movie, because having to deal with making these difficult decisions and involving brothers and taking over the throne. Well, I mean, it would be cousins in this case, but still, it's If you haven't seen the first Thor movie, Chaddy, I would go back and check that out because it's like
we only saw Ragnarok.
Gotcha.
I
know Tessa Thompson was in there, but
was the best one, right?
Ragnarok and the first one are drastically different from one another.
Very different movies.
Right.
But
I mean,
in terms
very different.
in terms of like a serious like movie about like royalty and stuff like that, it's very similar arcs.
Yeah, I don't need all that crazy, funny joke every 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
give me story. I need story. That's why I fell
Yeah.
asleep on Avengers: Age of Ultron in the movie theater. It's weird.
Oh.
I don't know how I fell asleep. It was just like so much action going on, and it was
Hey,
just action,
you know
and so
what?
I fell asleep.
You know what? I feel for you there. I was kind of like, for me, even me as a comic book movie lover and Marvel movie lover, I was like, this one is not as good. I feel like it's kind of too all over the place and so much action.
Right.
Yeah, they were
I know
trying
what
to
you're
do
saying.
a lot in one movie where they probably tried to do a little bit too much in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, so
They were in the car scene.
but like
I guess they were able to get Claw, right? He got Claw.
Yeah,
the interrogation scene is
Yeah.
next, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was
Yeah.
surprised like they ended up killing Claw as early as they did.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't really expecting that, but it's just like it just went to show you like what Killmonger would do in order to achieve his goal. Like, he even like shot his own girlfriend just because she was in the way. Like, yeah, this guy was nuts.
Yeah, it went dark pretty quick, and I wasn't expecting that. I'm not saying it was bad, but I was like, oh, okay. No. They're showing that like they're willing to do something and kill off some characters if they need to.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
I like the dynamic between Agent Ross and Nakia, how he ended up saving her life, so she really wanted to save him, and they weren't, and just this whole conflict, like, well, do we bring this guy into our country? Like, we're trying to keep people out, and but I mean, but she was much more open to like, we should try and help more people and not necessarily close everything off, and I think maybe that was why she and T'Challa broke up originally. Maybe they just had a difference of opinion there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like obviously they ended up reaching a pretty good compromise towards the end. But yeah, but I mean, it was cool seeing Martin Freeman because he was in Civil War. They kind of introduced him to that character, and I know in the comics that character Everett Ross is supposed to be like the government liaison to Wakanda from the U.S. So he. And he was a cool character because he was like kind of like everyone else's way in to he was kind of like the everyman from America, just checking out this this new country and just kind of giving it that perspective, which I thought was cool.
I like that. I like this character.
And he obviously provided comic relief, which is what his character does in the comics anyway.
Yep.
So the whole scene where how Killmonger was able to beat him at the ritual combat and take over the throne, and then you had people in the kingdom were divided. And, I mean, it was a really interesting dynamic.
In that scene where he had to face off Killmonger in the ritual thing, the ritual combat, whatever, he actually beat him first. T'Challa actually beat him first. Like, he had him down, and he had, like, a spear pretty much on him, and he said...
he got up, right.
Yeah, he said, yield. And then, the guy, he got up, he let him up. So I was like, man, I feel like he beat him, but they didn't call that, like, a win because he didn't physically say yield, because they established that right on. They said, it either has to be by yield or by death.
Yeah.
And T'Challa, I think that was, he didn't, obviously with M'Baku, he didn't want to kill him. And and I think the same thing with Killmonger. And unfortunately, I guess with some people, it's going to be death or nothing, It's this all or nothing type of thing.
I mean, it's crazy for being such an advanced society, but they were still, so steeped in tradition. It almost seemed like medieval, the whole trial by combat thing. It's it's an interesting juxtaposition, kind of having having those old school elements with the technology and all the advancements and all that other stuff. So it was a really unique dynamic they had going on there.
That's true.
So yeah, Killmonger kind of sucker punched him WWE style.
Yeah.
threw him off the cliff. I mean, you knew he wasn't gonna die, but it's still that level of suspense. Seeing like seeing like the conflict between the citizens once, because it's like, well, technically this new American guy won and he's taken the throne, but like, should we support him? And then he kind of like recruited people to his cause, including Wakabi, who was T'Challa's best friend. So so that was a whole thing there. And I know Okoye and the Dora Milaje, they were very conflicted. We're like, well, it's our duty to serve the king, but we're not really on board with this dude. And there's a lot of stuff going on there. And again, we could spend hours talking about all the subtleties in this movie. I'm not going to do that to the listeners here. I'm not going to subject them to that. But
I have to say, just a random thing. I think Okoye, I did not like Okoye and Wakabi like being kind of like a couple. I think it should have been Okoye and M'Baku. I mean, how epic would that have been for those two together? I mean, you talk about yin and yang for each other.
Right.
I mean, that could still happen. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I think they would be a much more awesome couple, in my opinion.
Yes.
Interesting.
They would be.
Interesting thing about the Dora Milaje for a second, and they didn't really go into this in the movie, but I think in the comics they were not only supposed to be the king's royal guards, but also like selected as like potential wives for the king.
Really?
Which kind of makes sense, because like when you think about it, they're trying to build this whole line of warrior kings, so it makes sense that they would want to breed the king with like the toughest female.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense on that level. So it's kind of, I mean, I guess they probably didn't have enough time to really go into all that, so I don't know if that'll be explored later on, but...
Right. Did you guys hear, I read an article, part of an article, where it was saying that there was a missed opportunity for the LGBTQ community to be represented, and it said that in the original comics, I don't know if it was those ladies, or I guess it was. They're like,
Okoye
a girlfriend.
And I don't know, I think one other girl, I guess it was like a girl-on-girl relationship there, so I don't know.
Right.
But like even in the context of like the dorm, then it's like, well, that doesn't make sense if they're supposed to be potential wives for the king.
Right,
then,
exactly. It's confusing,
I mean,
right?
I could see what, but yeah, I mean, like there's enough stuff going on in this movie where you didn't really have to go down that road.
Yes, you didn't. You don't have to, because there are lots of other elements to this too. Like they could have given more of Killmonger's story. It's a lot of stuff they didn't have time to. I heard it was a 4-hour movie originally. They had to cut it. So no way to.
You can't have a 4-hour movie. You can't have people
exactly.
just for 4 hours.
You can't put everything in.
But it's like people get just so like, oh well, they missed this opportunity, and it's like, look, we only have so much time in this movie. You're not going to check all the diversity boxes, okay? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So just focus on making a good movie.
I'm not even sure if they even explored that topic or talked about it. Probably wasn't even talked about. Who knows?
Probably not. I wouldn't think. I mean, I don't know.
Because it's like at the end of the day, this movie is about Black Panther. Like that's his name. Like it's about T'Challa. You can't.
It didn't really explore any of the other relationships there at all. Yeah. Like went in depth with anybody else's relationships.
It's true.
Besides his. So why would they do it for one other specific person?
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know you guys love M'Baku. The whole thing with the Jabari tribe was interesting. Trying to negotiate. It's like, M'Baku was like, look, T'Challa, I'm saving your life, because you spared me, but like we're not friends. But the enemy. It's like, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so fine, I'll help you. So that's kind of how that. So, I mean, he could be a villain later on in sequels. We don't know.
Right. So. I just want part 2 to come out already.
Yeah.
Right. Well, hey, at least this year, like in May,
at least we'll see him again.
He's going to be in Infinity War, like, and that's just a few months away. So, and they're going to.
Which I have a theory on this whole thing with Infinity War and Wakanda, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have a few things too, and especially as it relates to that whole astral plane where they could talk to the dead. That was
the ancestors. Yeah.
Something's going on with that.
Yep. I think I hate to be on a tangent, but they didn't really talk about it in this movie. They didn't bring up any kind of Infinity Stone in this movie, but I think because there's one stone, there's 6 stones for Infinity Stones, and there's one stone that is unaccounted for, as in like it hasn't been seen on screen yet at all, and that's the Soul Stone, and I think that Soul Stone was embedded in the vibranium comet, that asteroid or whatever that crash landed into Wakanda. And I think because
that would explain why they would be able to communicate with dead people.
And I don't think they know that it's actually the stone is there. I think that's what it affected the plant life. Like it said in that story, vibranium landed and affected the plant life around it, and they picked up the plants and they figured out that you get powers and it seems like you can access certain things. But I think they don't know it's there, and that's why you have Thanos coming in Infinity War, coming into Wakanda, because he knows it's in that vibranium mine that they have. They just probably don't know it yet.
Oh, for sure.
That's my theory. I mean, I could be completely off, but that's just my theory.
That sounds like that's probably what's going to happen in the Infinity War movie.
Right.
But that final fight scene with Killmonger and T'Challa, seeing the two cousins go back and forth, that was that was pretty wild. I loved like the cave, the vibranium cave they were in with the trains and all that, and just like the purple light. It was like it looked like something out of Avatar.
Yeah,
like, it was crazy.
It did. Oh, aren't they coming out with that soon? They took forever.
Oh, I have no idea.
And they took like 10 years or more.
I mean, they say they have like 4 or 5 of those movies like in production.
Right.
I don't know.
I liked it when they were falling into the mine and they were having combat like in the air.
Oh, in the air, yes.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool scene. I liked that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that final fight scene, and of course his death scene at the end was just that was crazy, because it's like you knew T'Challa felt sympathy for his cousin.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's like, I can't ignore all the bad stuff that you're about to do, and like how he basically turned into like Farrakhan on steroids.
Right.
and he still wanted to save him.
Yeah, and then he said one of the most powerful lines that a lot of, again, my black people are, is sunken. Like, we could fix you. He said, no, you just throw me in prison. He said, just throw me in the ocean with my ancestors, because I know they knew that death was better than bondage. So
yeah, than a life of bondage.
That resonated a lot. Yeah, than a life of bondage. Yeah, that.
Which, I mean, really a powerful quote, but I was almost waiting for T'Challa to be like, wait a minute, you're Wakandan. We were never slaves. What are you talking about?
Right.
but again,
he's
we never know what
Africa
He's
in
going to be
general.
a prisoner. Is going to just be like his slave ancestors in America.
Right.
So it's like, I don't want to.
Which is true. I mean, maybe I guess his mom was American. Which, by the way, we never found out what happened to her.
Mom was American.
Yeah. He wasn't exactly gonna roam around free in Wakanda if they did save him.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's like, no, you're definitely going to jail.
Right.
By the way, we never found out what happened to Killmonger's mom.
That's what I'm trying to think. But they said that he had a child with a woman. Yeah.
They never said whether she died or what happened to her, and
It's because she was white. She needed to be in the movie. I'm just kidding.
No, I was gonna go the other way and say that she was like played by Leslie Jones. Eric, stop shooting people. Oh, great.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't important to the story. With her,
They didn't say anything. They told his story, so why didn't they mention?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess it was implied that she died. They never really said what happened to his mom.
I mean, the thing about this story is just you've got a prince of Wakanda that went off and kind of went rogue, but also had a son while going rogue. That's all. That's what they're just. That's what's most important.
Right.
So but again, that final scene where it's like he ended up kind of going back to that building where his uncle used to live and buying that building and kind of setting up sort of an outreach center there just to kind of make up for like what his father did was kind of a cool note to end it on, where it's like, all right, there's a little bit of compromise there. It's like he's still
but Killmonger won it, kind of.
Yeah, and he's still trying to like compromise. It's like, all right, well, we're still worried about our own country first, but that doesn't mean we can't help a few people out. And
Right.
I still don't quite understand at the end why they decided to just go ahead. Like the whole thing about Michael B. Jordan's character was that like, oh, obviously he was doing it for the wrong reasons, but he wants the world to know about Wakanda, and he wants all the resources passed out and this and that. But their whole thing in Wakanda was like, let's keep it safe, let's keep it together, just us. We'll fight to the death to keep it this way. And then at the end, it's like, you know what? Let's go ahead and tell the whole world. Let's share everything.
I think it's about. I think it had to do with Nakia too, though, because
okay.
she was about going out and doing that as well. So he had his villain, his cousin, telling him that we need to be telling people about this stuff, and then we had Nakia saying we need to be helping people. So I think it was that both of those coming in at him,
Yeah.
And him realizing, okay, it is possible.
And you know what? And it's obviously he was mad about like you know what? Now I'm thinking about it. He was mad about his dad leaving another Wakandan behind.
Yes.
Especially like of royal blood.
Right, right.
So like he was like saying like this isn't right. We're gonna change. We're gonna start changing some things to along with Nakia and stuff like that. So I think that was all like a culmination. Okay, now I get it. All right.
Yeah, no, I think it was his way of compromising. I think he's like, all right, well, it's like we can still help people out. I'm not going to be like my cousin who wanted to take over the world and basically turned into Black Hitler.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, exactly.
He didn't really, obviously didn't want to do that. So yeah. So it was just more of like finding a happy medium, and that's like kind of his deal as a king. He still was staying true to himself, but also listening to other people's ideas and trying to be a better leader in that sense.
Right.
So yeah.
I wonder if he's like, I was gonna let you know we got all these technology and resources, but good luck finding us. Good luck.
Right.
Just kidding.
You'll never find us.
Like, we're not gonna give you guys everything, all right?
Yeah. If you can find it, we'll let you in a little bit. But,
Right. I mean, we saw a funny picture today that like Southwest Airlines was or Orlando Airport was saying, it's like,
oh my gosh, they are hilarious.
Now we have free flights to Wakanda.
Yes, did you read those comments? It's on my thing. I posted it. Go in those comments. Whoever is running that page was like spot on. They were on point. Like,
I had to leave a comment in there. It's like, you know what? I don't think they're really open to tourists just yet. I'm just guessing. Maybe they don't want a bunch of people coming in. I could be wrong.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Go look, and people were saying like, do you make pit stops to Zamunda? And
right. I mean, it's probably not a huge tourist destination at this point if they can help it.
So let's.
Baby steps, guys.
Yo, can we talk about how awesome the music was?
Yes.
Yeah. I like it was cool because there was that like. There was sort of that like electronic beat, but it was still very orchestral, I guess.
Yeah, it was like hip hop. It had like the hip hop vibe to it. It had the like African vibe to it at times.
Yes,
it was a nice little fusion.
The guy who did the music, he said he's been working with Ryan for like over 10 years, and he said this is the first time he's worked on African music, and it taught him so much more. He's grown as a musician just from studying African music and doing this film. It was so beautiful because I was able to hear how he was able to put the traditional African in it, but then make it still soundtracky, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like that beautiful soundtrack. Oh, yeah.
This guy's name is Ludwig Göransson. He's from Sweden, and he's done a bunch of like sitcoms like Community and Happy Endings and New Girl and oh yeah, he also worked on Fruitvale Station and Creed with Ryan Coogler.
See? Mm-hmm.
Did you
Yeah.
watch that movie, Chaddy?
Yeah,
Fruitvale
I've
Station?
seen all of them in the movies. I
Oh,
support Ryan
nice.
Coogler every time.
Nice.
When I watched Fruitvale Station, it was like nothing was really going on yet in the movie. They were showing like near the beginning, and this couple got up and walked out. I'm like,
Oh, jeez.
that was really weird, you know? I was like,
Huh.
oh, okay, sorry. They didn't even get to the parts where, like, you need to see the rest so you can,
Yeah.
very
I
important.
mean, I've still yet to watch it, but I can't
Right.
imagine somebody getting up to leave on that kind of. That's weird.
Right. It's like, you know what this film is about, right? Like, anyway, I don't know. Yeah, but I'm so happy that I've been, you know, they're only 31 years old. Amazing. From
Yeah,
Oakland.
he's so young. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I'm like, wow. Michael B. Jordan, he just turned, I think, 30. 30? Yeah, I think he just turned 30 in February. Well, this month, couple weeks ago. So, yeah, they're like young people. Him and Michael B. Jordan are actually working on another African film they're thinking about the richest man ever to live, Mansa Musa.
Interesting.
Look him up, Mansa Musa. He was so freaking rich. He started like giving away gold, and he like took the value down economically. So I don't know. Look, I researched him last year, so I got to. Yeah, Mansa Musa, richest man ever on Earth history.
So which one would you date, Chadwick or Michael B. Jordan?
So first of all, I'm married, but
well, let's say if you're single.
Yeah, if I were, I don't know. That's hard because well, Michael B. Jordan's closer to my age, but Chadwick, he's 40 years old. I didn't even know, like a baby.
Know that.
I go on research binges. Yeah, I thought he was like my age, but I don't know. That's a hard one. Like,
All right.
Like appearance-wise, Michael B. Jordan looks better, but I think I might like Chadwick's personality better. I don't know.
Okay.
Who knows?
All right.
Both of those guys just got into ridiculous shape for the movie.
Got all stuff, and it's like, dang.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, as you'd expect for these Marvel movies, all these guys are all jacked up and all
right.
So yeah, they ended it, and they had the mid-credit scene at the UN in Vienna, which was like kind of a good spot because that's where T'Chaka was killed in Vienna, Austria.
Right.
At the UN building there, and then the post-credit scene, they had the reveal that Bucky Barnes has been cured.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was cute how like the little kids were kind of like poking at him, waking him up, and just kind of checking him out, and like who is this guy?
Yep, got to get him ready for Infinity War.
So it's good. He's cured. He's not going to turn evil spontaneously, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was like telling my wife about that, and she was like, "Oh, I don't like him." I'm like, "But he's good now."
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So that was like one of the few cameos. I thought there might have been like a post-credit scene because like I know at some point Bucky and Cap were both in Wakanda because but
well, that was the post-credit scene
for Civil War, yeah.
No. Oh, wait. No, I'm talking about for Black Panther. What you said, you figured there would be a post-credit scene. That was was it, right?
Yeah, no, that was it. I was saying I'm surprised that that Captain America wasn't there, but
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I know he was there at one point, before Bucky went into deep freeze and all that.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, I mean it was. I mean,
what about the battle scene outside? Wow.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
That was amazing. I love how they use their like shields, their vibranium shields.
Yeah, the rhinos.
Yes. My favorite part was when in Nkoye she stopped the rhino and then he was
yeah.
Yeah, I was almost like, what? Come on, you can't do that.
Right.
I loved that.
It was like, yeah, she just totally pulled like a circus trick out of that, like an animal trainer, right? And it's just like, oh, he's just a big baby. Come on.
I really loved how like they made the what are the bodyguards called again?
The Dora Milaje.
I really love that they stayed true and like they made them like actual badasses, not just they talk badass, sure, but like in action they really were because they went after Killmonger when he had the Black Panther powers and
Yes.
suits, and it was 3-on-1. Yeah, but I mean, like
Yes.
they pretty much had him down for, they were gonna get his necklace, but unfortunately he had that new tech that he used. But like that's how they didn't have powers,
Right.
So I just love that whole fight
Me
scene.
too.
It was done very well.
Yes.
Interesting thing about that, there was a lot of violence in the movie, a lot of, obviously a lot of action, very little blood. I don't know if you guys noticed this or not. But
well,
like,
that's because of like PG-13
PG-13. Yeah, but it's like I'm pretty sure she just got her throat cut and and Killmonger got stabbed and but I mean it was like
and when he stabbed Forrest Whitaker. Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't when you have so much blood, it automatically turns to rated R. Like that's the reason why.
I mean, that's fine. I'm not complaining. I don't need to see it.
Didn't take away from it, really, but that's very interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I was listening to someone, I forget whose review it was, they pointed it out, but it was like, at the same time, it's like, well, I'm okay with it. Like, I don't really need to see a bunch of blood gushing. I'm not really into that anyway, so.
This is the PG-13 Game of Thrones. Like, this is
right.
This is not like HBO that we're watching.
Yeah, that's,
right.
That's fine. We can leave that to Game of Thrones. I'm okay with
right.
that. Yeah, perfect.
Let the children see.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know.
So yeah. No.
Was that your favorite part, Antonio? Was that end battle?
Man, I think I really enjoyed that Killmonger in the Black Panther suit fighting all the female warriors. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
And the rhinos.
I was like, wow, vibranium rhinos. Like, what more do you need?
Right.
And the Black Panther suit, I didn't like it when they took out the silver eyes and you could actually see their eyes. Like, did you guys see? You guys remember that? Well, like it's during certain scenes. I know, like when he first took down Claw over in South Korea. When he went walking up to him, he didn't take off his mask. He just opened like his eyes, so that way, like you can actually see Chadwick's eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of that one.
I kind of like the white lenses.
I kind of like the mystique a little bit more than that. I was just curious what you thought on that.
What I thought. I mean, it didn't really bother me. Like I'm kind of with you. I like the lenses on there. It kind of gives more of that, but again, not a deal breaker for me.
Oh, no. Trust me, I want that suit.
For sure. Let's just maybe go down to the cast real quick. Obviously, starting with Chadwick Boseman. That dude, I mean, he's one of those guys, he obviously disappears into every role that he has, whether it's James Brown, Jackie Robinson, Thurgood Marshall. Again, I haven't seen the other movies, but, if you're going to play that wide of a range, obviously, you got to be one of those actor. Like you got to really.
Yeah, he said. I was reading about him. He got into acting because he was originally doing like directing and stuff, but he got into acting because he wanted to know how to communicate with the actors better. So I guess like let me go do this acting so I can feel what they feel, so that as a director I know what to tell them. So I thought that was interesting to read.
And I mean, the way he carried himself, he definitely had this regal sense about him. Like, he had that.
Yes.
Like he definitely looked like, like a prince, like a king. Like he definitely embodied that role perfectly, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So.
And I have to say, they did a good job with the father, like whether it was in 1992 or as
right.
Well, the thing about that, and obviously for the older T'Chaka, they brought back, the man who was in Civil War.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the younger version of his character was actually played by his son in real life.
Oh, that's his son?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder they did a great job.
Well, even compared to Chadwick, it's like I can really see, it feels like I can follow that lineage. With
Sure.
Like, they did a great job with that.
Very good casting. Wow.
I didn't know that was actually his son. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's John Connie is the name of the older
Yep.
T'Chaka, and his son was Atandwa Connie. I think.
Wow.
So there you go, little piece of trivia there.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Michael B. Jordan kind of stole the show as Killmonger, aka Jadaka.
Right.
As sympathetic as he was just menacing. Like he was not a good dude. Like
No.
you understood why, but at the same time, it's like he.
No, but that's not the way. Yeah, that's not.
At the same time, he made sure you knew like he's the bad guy.
Right.
In that scene where Killmonger gains his powers and he goes to the ancestral plane.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's back to that scene in 1992.
Oh man.
Right.
Watching it the second time, I don't think he was actually talking to his dad. Like, in the ancestral plane, I think he was just reliving the moment. I feel like
because he started going through the things that he eventually found when he was a kid. So
right,
exactly. That was a powerful scene.
Yeah, that was a powerful scene. It was kind of interesting. I was like, interesting that like I feel like it's done on purpose that he's not actually talking to him. It's like
right.
I don't know if it's because of his intentions or whatever, but he didn't get that same privilege that like maybe it's because like he doesn't have that lineage, for him it's not there for him. He doesn't know about it.
Maybe.
Right.
It's kind of interesting how they did that.
It really, I mean, as cool as his death scene was, it is kind of a shame that they killed him off just because he did such a good job, and
right.
It's a shame that he can't come back for. I mean, well, I guess theoretically maybe they could find some BS explanation to bring him back, but
right.
You never know with these movies. But it's interesting. You could almost compare Killmonger and T'Challa to like Magneto and Professor X in the X-Men movies.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Which by the way, Magneto and Professor X were very much like an allegory for like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Like, the X-Men stuff is very much like inspired by like civil rights, problems in the 60s, and also, and also is really identified with a lot of readers who are gay and lesbian because they identify with that book in a lot of ways as well.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, so it's very much a similar dynamic there, where it's like they're family, but they're on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
Yeah.
Old school Malcolm X. X.
Exactly. So
later in his life, this is radical.
Right. So Lupita Nyong'o, she's everywhere nowadays. Like she's,
and deservedly so. I mean,
yeah. I still have to watch Queen of Katwe. I haven't seen that yet.
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, I have to watch it.
Yeah, she also is in the latest, the latest Star Wars movies as Maz Kanata, even though it's just a voiceover role.
Yeah.
Wow.
I listened to a little bit of the actress who played Okoye. I forgot her name.
Denai Guerrero.
Yeah. Michonne. I just call her Michonne.
Yeah, she's on The Walking Dead. I don't know what else she's done.
They were in an interview process about like kind of like how they met and whatnot, but like basically Denai was like she heard about Lupita and she was recruiting her to like her school her university, I guess. For like, she's like, oh, this is gonna be a great actress. We gotta nab this one. And Lupita was also being recruited by Yale, and so she had to choose between that school that Denai went to, which I guess both were like amazing schools for actors and actresses. And like, she ended up going to Yale, but she had the same exact teacher that taught Denai at her school.
Oh, so they were classmates together, or I guess
no. So
college?
Denai was
the
like
same teacher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they ended up having the same teacher, but different universities. Like, and even though, but Denai was recruiting Lupita to the university that she went to. Do you get that, Jack? You get what I'm saying?
I think so. I'm trying to connect all the dots here.
Let's just say Denai went to University A and was taught by a teacher, and then she's graduated. She's recruiting Lupita now to go follow her footsteps. But Lupita ends up going to University B. But University B ended up getting the teacher that Denai had, and she was taught by her.
That's cool.
Got it. John, I may have you draw me a diagram later on. We'll have to talk more about this. But yeah, I'm
going to have a TPC report at your desk.
TPS report? Yes. Did you get that memo? All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, we got that. Martin Freeman as Everett Ross. Really good to see him back from Civil War. Obviously, he's done a bunch of stuff. He was Bilbo Baggins, and he's also in the TV show Sherlock. And he does a good job with the American accent as well for being a Brit.
Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and Daniel Kaluuya as Wakabi. He was the guy from Get Out.
Yeah, in the sunken place. He got out the sunken place, I guess, and went to Africa.
Yeah, I think his parents are from Nigeria, so that makes sense. He was able to pick him up.
Yeah, he has he's from like the UK or something, right?
He's a Brit.
Yeah.
So, and Letitia Wright as Shuri, obviously, I fell in love with Shuri.
Her.
She was super cute.
I love her.
She's
great. An island girl.
She's from Guyana, I think.
Oh, Guyana. She is from Guyana.
Yeah.
Yep, that's where she is from. Yep.
What do you mean, like an island girl? What do you mean by that?
From the island, from a Caribbean island.
Oh,
yeah.
No, okay,
well,
Caribbean island.
more West Indian.
Yeah.
Well, you could say West Indian, still Caribbean, but
Right. I get you.
Mhm.
Sure. And Winston Duke was M'Baku. I don't really know much about him.
He's from Trinidad and Tobago. He's
I'm like.
He went to college in my hometown. He went to University of Buffalo.
Oh, I saw you post something about that earlier today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
He's done like Law and Order, a few other TV shows, but I don't really know all that much about him. Probably done a lot of stage work, if I had to guess. But,
probably.
Went
to
But he was good.
Well, I feel like he needs to be in more stuff because.
Yes.
I liked his performance.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure this will be open up a lot of doors for him. So they also had you also had Angela Bassett and Forrest Whitaker. Obviously everyone knows them. They were great. Andy Serkis, coming back as Ulysses Claw. He was a really entertaining villain as well. It's almost
he was.
It's almost a shame that they killed him off in the middle of the movie, just because he was so quirky and just so
creepy, the perfect creepiness. And
even in Age of Ultron, he had some pretty good lines in there as well.
Yeah,
I felt like there was like an actual arc. There was going to be an arc for him. Like there was going to be something that's really truly more. But then all of a sudden he's like, nope, he's dead. Like,
I was like, wow, okay.
Yep. It's like, okay. The focus is truly on Killmonger.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing that happened in The Last Jedi, and he played Snoke, and Snoke got killed earlier on. So it's
wow.
Kind of a running theme with Andy's characters here.
Spoilers.
It's cool. I would like to see Andy do some more roles where it's him, because he's known for doing all the CGI stuff, but he's also a really good actor when he's just him.
Like regular stuff.
Yeah, he had a few other little cameos in there. Just really cool. I love the thing from Stan Lee in the casino in Korea.
I felt like his part was a little weird in this one.
Oh yeah, the whole audience started cheering.
I mean, you have to have Stan in there, and
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's always good to see him in there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Stan's gonna stick out like a sore thum if he's in Wakanda, but he
so
might
let's
stick
stick
out
him
a
in
little
South
bit.
Korea.
Yeah, that's sure. Well, it's an international place, he could have been traveling, so it's fine.
See, it's the whole Asian thing. No, I'm just kidding.
Here we go again with that.
Right there.
That's enough. So there we go. That's the cast top to bottom. I think we all really enjoyed this movie, and the great thing is, a few months away is Avengers: Infinity War, where we all get to see Black Panther and all the other characters we know and love once again.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
I'm really excited about Infinity Wars, and I mean, you get to go right back into Wakanda, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, you really do. We saw in the preview that they had a lot of people there. You had Cap, Bucky, Black Widow, the Hulk, and a few other people that were clearly fighting in Wakanda. So I have a feeling that Wakanda is going to play a pretty big role in Infinity War. So yeah, so I think that's it for our Black Panther review. Obviously, we all really loved it. So Chaddy, now you said you're working on a new record. Where can people find you online and access your music and everything you have going on?
Yeah, CHADDY boom.com. And then I'm on, Instagram, ChaddyBoom16, Facebook.com/ChaddyBoom, Twitter /ChaddyBoom. My music's on iTunes, my EP Poppish Rockish. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, all those platforms, If you want to just listen to it, go on YouTube. It's on there too. You want to just listen to the album. Yeah.
Definitely. Make sure you check out her music and go back to episode 35 of this podcast where we had a one-on-one interview, and that was really great. Antonio, any film projects coming your way? I don't know what you're doing with Clear Your Mind or anything else you have in the works right now.
Yeah, man, I'm working on a Power Rangers fan film for a music video that I'm working on, and I'm doing that. I'm working on doing I'm gonna do a high quality video for the attraction that I work at Animal Kingdom. I'm gonna do a safari video, and Clear Your Mind is always my main project, so I'm still working on that. And
what is Clear Your Mind?
It is my short film. I basically shot the first 10 minutes of what I want the feature film to be like.
Okay.
And I'm really just nailing down that script to eventually shoot the whole thing.
Nice.
Yep. I'm still on Facebook. I haven't removed it, so you can just search for it. You could watch the first 7 minutes of it.
What do I do? How do I find it? What do I do?
It's just clear your mind. It should be a picture, like an anime picture of a girl.
Okay.
It's live action, but it's like anime inspired.
Okay.
Yep.
And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at JackXConnor, like me on Facebook, which is facebook.com/JackConnorMusic. You can also check out my band, Vertebraker, on Facebook at facebook.com/VertebrakerBand. On Twitter at VertebrakerFL, as in the state of Florida. Our first EP is also on iTunes and Spotify and basically everywhere digital music is sold, Amazon MP3, you name it. And as far as feedback, you could always leave a comment. You could tweet me with the hashtag Phoenix Report, or you can send me an email, jackconnorpodcast@gmail.com. So that is it for our review of Black Panther. What did you think of the movie? Leave a comment, hit like if you enjoyed our breakdown of it. Let us know what you think. Go back and subscribe, listen to all the other reviews we did. Like I said, normally I'll do like one-on-one interviews with people that, mainly music based, but we do movie reviews. We do pro wrestling on this show. Like we cover a lot of different topics. It's basically kind of whatever I feel like talking about. That's the beauty of having your own show. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening, and hope you guys enjoyed it. So for John Walters, for Antonio Camuñas, for Chaddy Boom, I'm Jack Connor. This has been the Phoenix Report. Thank you for listening.
Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.